Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FTRL for the 8th and the final round for the Nations Cup on Gran Turismo Sport. As you can see, we're staring at a set of fantastically trimmed bushes, so the gardener's been doing a fantastic job around Bathurst. We'll move on to another driver for a better camera. Let's go on board with Pagani. So, 8th and final round of the Nations Cup, but at Bathurst, we're in Super Formulas. This could go one of two ways. It either goes good, or it goes crazy, because Bathurst is tough enough. But for these lads to be throwing it around in Super Formulas is definitely a different challenge in and of itself. Trust me, I know I've done practice around here for no real reason, just to see what it's like, and it's hell on earth. So, good luck to all the lads who are trying to give it a crack around tonight. It is the final race of the championship, so it's all to fight for the lads and the constructors. Now, if we get up our nice, fantastic table put together by Just Mike, we will have a quick little run through of the constructors before we head into the final round. So Japan lead the way in the championship with 157 points, closely followed by the UK on 138. The Germany are in P3 with 117 points, with France just 1 point behind in P4. They're on 116. USA, a bit of a tough season for those lads, unfortunately. They are 5th in the constructors, and the final position in the constructors, they are running with 93 points in the constructors. So it's not all to lose for Japan and UK. Well, it's all to lose for Japan, but it's all to win for the UK. So it's not going to be the easiest. It can be interesting. We could see a change in the constructors' leadership tonight, and well, in turn, who wins. But Japan's been doing a fantastic job throughout the season. They've spent pretty much most of the season at the top of the board. So personally, if I was going to throw my bet in, I think it's going to be another strong showing from the Japanese team, and I think they might have a good chance of taking the championship, as long as the UK doesn't have anything to say about it. So it'll be a couple more minutes before we head into qualifying. As Iggy's just popped out the room, I suspect he'll be back in a moment. We've got Ron Elson in the room as well, as you can see down the bottom left hand side of your screen. Also bottom of your screen, we've got a fantastic bit of telemetry, which is quite good on GT Sport. We'll hop on board with Pagani. So I don't know if there's anyone who's crazy enough like me to decide that they're going to race in the cockpit. I hope there's not, because tonight's going to be very difficult for them. But yeah, for those who are curious what it might look like, and to those who are driving, this is what you'd be seeing. It's not easy now. Normally on this camera, the cockpit's just a little bit higher. So if you run your cockpit cam on the normal settings, it's usually just that little lower down. It makes things just an extra bit difficult when you're trying to get that car turned around, because most of your screen is covered by that steering wheel, that big Cosworth steering wheel. So it should be an entertaining race tonight, as Pagani decides he is going to go and reposition a bit of the gravel. Hopefully he doesn't do that in the race. He is sporting Team USA, showing the eagle on the side of his car. We've got Lee Cole in the pit lane. There's everyone's just doing that extra little bit of practice before we go into qualifying. So on board with Ron Elston. He knows this track very well. He won around here last Friday. Unbeknownst to my jinx, it didn't work in full effect, but it did work. I will say, I jumped into the chat, I think it was about 10 minutes into race 2 on Friday, just to see how everything was going on. I saw Rom in the lead and thought, oh, Rom's probably going to spin. A couple of seconds after I put it in the chat, oh, well, me being me, I jinxed him. He spun around in a circle after a couple of seconds, but he still won his race. So hopefully I won't jinx him again tonight, but you never know. Lee Cole in the chat showing us German flags, but we'll see. We'll see if Lee can go the entire race facing in the correct direction. I don't know if he can. Be a bit of a tough battle for him, but we'll see. We'll see. And good evening, Mike. Good evening, Rom. Yeah. Good evening, Rom. Good evening, Guicarp. I'm on board with Rom. Don't know what's going on with me. I think I'm losing it a bit. So SBY just probably waiting for the qualifying to start. It is 5 minutes past 8, so that's usually when we start qualifying, so I suspect we'll be starting to go in a couple minutes. Leak out on your wheel for the first time, so a spin is likely, well, layer spin's likely whether you've got the wheel or not. So we'll see how everything goes. Should be a good couple races. Well, I say couple races, a good race. Got From in the pits, Blue Flag in the pits, Pagani in the pits, Aaron in the pits, Switchback in the pits, Lee Cole in the pits. He's still filling the car up. We've got City Posh Blue. He's doing an interesting version of this lap. He's giving it some reverse around the final 2 corners. So City Posh Blue finding a new way to prepare for the races. Of course, City Posh Blue is your GT2 champion, and I believe the GR3 category for season 8, which is finished last week, for the normal GT Sport with the Manufacturers Championship. So City Posh Blue knows his way around this game. I don't think he's feeling an awful lot of pressure, as you can see. He's racing down the start-finish line. So mentioning the Manufacturers Championship, that's starting up again next, well I say next week, it's this week. Starts up again for the GT2 lads on Thursday. A good couple races for them, we'll let you know what they are at the end of the stream. And Friday is the GT1 lads starting up again. Now, at the end of the seasons, we're going to have a nice endurance race for the GT2 lads. It's an hour and 30 minutes around Bathurst, I believe, yes, Bathurst. And for the lads in GT1, it's an hour and 30 minutes around the St Croix Layout B. So it should be an interesting way to end the season, with a nice endurance race, really test the drivers at the end of the season. So it should let our series go out with a bang for season 9. Well, hopefully there's no bangs, but you know what I mean. So Blue Flag in the chat, have a good race, good luck. So that's me suspecting they're going to be starting qualifying in a moment or two. And just a quick little touch on the Manufacturers Championship. It is the largest assortment of cars you can choose from for this season, so there definitely should be a variety of cars on the grid. So it should make things nice and interesting. Normally we have a somewhat limited selection of cars on the roster that we can all pick from, but this season they've really decided to open that up and just give you free range of what cars you want to use. But obviously the overpowered GT3 cars aren't there, because everyone will be going for them will be at 1 class. So it should be entertaining. Qualifying has started. All the lads trying to get out of the pit lane as soon as they can, burn some fuel. The Switchback being the first out the pit lane, unsafe release, not far behind. Actually, it says Switchback's in first, but it's actually not first out the pits. That's an interesting way to put it. The game's not telling us. So it looks like, unfortunately, T. Smith's not going to be with us tonight. He's had some internet troubles, unfortunately, last minute. So it's very sad for Tom. He was in the practice sessions a couple minutes before I started the stream. So it's sad to see him not with us for the final race tonight. Hopefully he can get back in some point around qualifying. I think we would love to have him out on chat with us, even if it's to bully him in the Discord chat after the race. Everyone just out on the outlap so far. The lads heading down the hill on the outlap, get those tyres warmed up. But the main purpose so far is you want to burn some fuel. So T. Smith is trying to get back in. so hopefully everything's sorted out for him. Unfortunately, he might not be able to participate in qualifying, but he's got 27 laps around here to try and make something work. Be an interesting race, not many opportunities to overtake. Obviously, you've got Concord, the long massive straight after you pop down the hill, and up to turn 2. They're pretty much your only overtaking opportunities. I think if anyone goes for something different, you're crazy and good luck, because it's going to be tough. But as you can see, bottom right, next to the rev counter, we have an overtake meter. So, because it's Super Formula, the cars can use overtake feature. Now it's set on default, so God knows how many seconds that is, but it's best used out of acceleration. I found out the hard way. I looked like an idiot a couple of weeks ago because I was using it straight down the straight, thinking, oh, okay, it works like F1, it's overtake, it'll boost up your straight line speed. No, it's used for acceleration. I found out the hard way, looking like a bit of a moron. So at least I know how it works properly, and I suspect all these guys know how it works as well. Unsafe at least. That back end all over the place trying to control the car down the hill. He's not been hitting any barriers, so that's positive for him as he heads down the Concord Straight. He will be setting his first of a few qualifying laps tonight. We're looking to try and get as much fuel out of that car as possible before pitching for a nice fresh set of rubber and then go out and set a proper hot lap, which will decide where he starts on the grid tonight. Surrounding the final corner, going across the line unsafe release. We'll be setting the first qualifying time of tonight, and he has set a 1 minute 43.2. Now I'm expecting some guys will probably try and go a bit faster than that, because I saw some people doing, or see, Romelson puts in a 41.9. So in practice I was seeing the 41s and 40s being thrown out there. So there's some lads have been putting in a lot of practice and have a lot of pace around here. Obviously it's one of those circuits, you're too used to driving it in the GT3, it's a massive adjustment to drive it in the Super Formula. Your braking points are completely different, you brake so late into that double left-hander, it's tough to understand sometimes. You'll want to brake at your normal point and you'll realise, oh, I've broken far too early. So it is something to get used to. It should be fairly interesting tonight. Currently Romelson on provisional pole by half a tenth, 50 milliseconds, 0.05 of a second. So showing some good pace Rom so far. Blue flag not far behind in the German livery. He'll be looking to try and knock himself up into P1 and knock Rom down into P2. Yeah, we'll go on board with Pagani as a little bang with the wall. I don't know if that's comms case, I haven't said anything. So Pagani heading down the hill. So Pagani loves this track, he's done hundreds of laps around here, he knows what he's doing. It's mainly a thing with Pagani, he loves Bathurst and the Nürburgring, and I must say, I can't disagree with him, I love those circuits myself. So we do love to torture ourselves around these few tracks. So I'm expecting some good stuff from Pagani tonight. He's got good natural pace in general, and he's put a fair bit of practice into this round. So I expect him to do fairly well tonight. He's popping into pit lane for a new set of super soft tyres. He won't be fueling up the car, because more fuel is more weight and you can't really decide how much fuel you want in the car for some reason. I don't quite know why. But that's it. It is how it is with GT Sport. So on board with Junkie Sport, running down into turn 2, also sporting the German livery. He's got a couple of sausages both on the side of his car, so interesting way to represent your nationality, the nation you're representing. So Junkie Sport currently provisionally 4th, 7 tenths behind the pole sitter Mighty Iggy, who is up into P1. Who's running a nice little Lotus livery. He's not running the black and gold, but he has got Lotus on the side of his car. So eventful downhill for Iggy, not the way he wanted it to go. He'll be writing off that qualifying time, but we've only got 5 minutes and 25 seconds to go until qualifying ends. So the lads, gotta get that fuel down quick, gotta get a fresh set of tyres on in time, and sort out a proper qualifying time. Switch back, letting blue flag coming through. He's either on an outlap or he's abandoned his lap. Let's have a look. Yeah, switch back's just on an outlap. T Smith in the chat saying his and Ross's internet may have just gone. So that's unfortunate for you lads. Hopefully you can get back in with a couple of minutes to go. Must be a pain in the backside for your internet to be working all day just to go last minute. So I wouldn't blame you if you decided to pull a Toto Wolff and punch a table or two. I think you're well within your limits to do that. There's just less than a 10 separating Iggy and Rom for P1 and P2 so far. This is all provisional, mind you, so it is likely to change before the end of qualifying. So blue flag in P3, unsafe release in P4, Junkie Sports in P5 with Rome 6th, FTRL Aaron in 7th as he decides he wants to make a bit of contact with the wall, gets to know the barrier. SBY in P8, well, only less than a 10th behind Aaron. Sorry, less than... So SBY is just a 10th and a half behind Aaron. Pagani is less than a 10th behind SBY. And Swiss back 9 milliseconds behind Pagani, so it's close between the two. City Posh Blue in P11. We have Lee Carl at the back provisionally, he's in P12. So Iggy pops into pit lane, maybe deciding to change his set of tyres, get an outlap done, then do a proper quali lap. That will be his plan for tonight's qualifying session. He needs to get in and out as quick as he can. Let's go on board with SBY for a proper lap and I'll let you enjoy the engine sounds. And just as you can see with that onboard from SBY, it's definitely not an easy lap around the obviously these Super Formula cars, very high downforce, a very powerful engine, so it's definitely a tricky lap, never mind what angle you're using to try and navigate your way up and down the mountains of Mount Panorama. So to to do a qualifying lap around here is one thing, especially with it being as intense as it is, but for these lads to be pushing as hard as they can for 27 laps, it's definitely going to be mentally taxing on them. So I feel like it's going to be one of those Monaco-esque situations with this track. You know, you're so close to the walls. It's just so difficult. You want to push as much as you can, but you don't want to overstep that limit just too much and either put yourself in a gravel trap before you end up going downhill or smack into a barrier. So, but luckily for these lads, there is no damage on Gran Turismo, or at least we don't have it turned on. So these lads don't need to worry too much about banging walls, but you won't want to be doing that. Well, let's be honest, it costs you a fair bit of time. So we'll go up to the top. We got Blue Flag, who's finishing his qualifying lap now. He has got a penalty, so this lap will pretty much be invalidated, unfortunately. Iggy sets the pole time. Blue Flag will be coming through the final corner. As suspect, he'll just be finishing off the qualifying session. His lap will be invalidated. We have Pagani taking pole by just underneath 3/10. We have Rom Elson in P4, unsafe release 5th. SBY is actually 5th now, unsafe is 6th. We've got Flying From in P7. Aaron coming across the line to set a 1 minute 48.5, so the bad lap from Aaron. His fastest is still a 42.1. Aaron's P9. From's now P8, unsafe is up into 7th. So we have Junkie Sports rounding out top 10 with City Posh Blue in 11th with Lee Cole 12th. And during our quick little viewing of SPY's qualifying lap, Megatron Lishat aka Ross managed to get into the lobby. So unfortunately he couldn't participate in qualifying, so he'll be at the back of the grid for the start of the race. So fantastic qualifying from the lads, as I thought. Pagani up on pole, he knows this track like the back of his hand. He's done a lot of practice in these super formulas. So a good job for Pagani, and a mighty good job for both Iggy and Blue Flag to be in the top 3 as well. Now for whatever reason we're all going very, very slow around here, so I think we might be stuck with, thing might be thrown. So just wait a moment and then we'll be going into the race. And I think this is the perfect opportunity for me to have a quick little drink. I've got a glass of OJ with me, smooth, with no bits. I think you'd have bits in your orange juice. You're a bit of a psychopath. But that's just my humble opinion. So 30 seconds left to go before we head into the final, the grand finale of the first season of our Nations Cup tonight. 27 laps around Mount Panorama. Definitely a difficult circuit, even if you're in GT3 cars, and especially with the speed that you're pulling in these things, your mind's working in overtime. So it makes things nice and difficult for the lads. Good for me to commentate over because I get to watch these lads suffering. Guicarp in the chat saying classy. I suspect that's for my orange juice comments, and I do consider myself a man of stature, Guy. I must say that myself. So heading into the finale tonight, and for the not only for tonight's session, but for today, for the season. Hashtag Ascom is my pick for the win tonight. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to throw Pagani up for the race win. So calling for a restart. For some reason the grid is completely incorrect. So yeah, I suspect that they'll be that there might be a restart. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, Aaron in chat, restart. So I don't quite know what's happened there. The game just decided it doesn't want to work with us tonight and decided it'll just run a completely different grid to what we qualified as. So that's a bit unfortunately. So we'll just run a we'll run a custom grid, put everyone in the positions they were once they qualified, and then we'll be all going. Now, as you can see on your screen, Junkie Sports found himself up into P1 and he's deciding to take every advantage of it and spend as much time in the lead as he can. So, oh, you gotta love Junkie. You gotta love him. Doesn't want to waste an opportunity he's got. So, just have to back out of this lobby. Oh, actually no, we won't have to back out. Then just do it in the settings. So it shouldn't be too long before we're all going. So while we're waiting for it to be sorted out, I think it actually might be a good idea to have a look at a livery or two. Let's see, who should we go with? Who shall we go with? We'll go with Junkie Sports, he's renowned for making us liveries. Actually, I'm not sure if we can see it. There was an option earlier to show livery, but I don't think it's there anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, well, that's sad. Earlier on, before we started streaming, I was having a look through everybody's livery on a nice setting that we had here, but for some reason it's gone. That's... oh, there we go, check livery. So a nice couple of liveries, but for some reason the format's all changed. I had a nice full screen. But I've got to change car to get in as well. So everyone back out on track, unsafe release. Okay, so the grid has been set and we'll be ready to go in just a moment. Now the release of F1 2020 is just around the corner. It'll be, well, the pre-ordered version, the Michael Schumacher edition, has been released today, so there'll be some lads enjoying that, but the proper standard edition of F1 2020 comes out on Friday the 10th of July, and I suspect in a few weeks, probably about 3 weeks, we'll be starting our F1 Championship up. Last season for F1 we were running 2 divisions in one night, that in the same lobby, so half of the grids was F1 and half the grid was F2. We were running 2 25% races with a one-shot qualifying for race 1 and a reverse grid for race 2. This season, for season 14 I believe it is, we will, so we've done a fair few F1 seasons, so for the next season, F1 2020, we'll be running the short qualifying with the 50% distance races, so it should be a fun, should be back to the normal layout, and obviously the addition of both Zandvoort and the Hanoi circuit in Vietnam, so I suspect they might be on the calendar, so a couple of new tracks this year for everyone to enjoy. Obviously me and myself, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on those 2 new circuits on Friday. I think, as most of you know if you pay attention to the Discord chat, or if you're in the F1 Discord chat, once I get my hands on an F1 career mode, well, good luck getting me off. Because I kind of lose track, and then I'm on it pretty much all day. So I'll just be waiting for everything to be sorted out while the lads sort out our custom grid. Now while I'm on the subject of talking about the leagues that we are running, let's get up the GT1 and the GT2 calendar. I think that should be a good little thing to have a look at. If I can find the tab for them, I'm starting to go blind. Okay, so the GT1 lads will be starting week 1 with Brands Hatch Indy for the first race. That will be a 20-minute long race, and then Brands Hatch GP, that will be 50 minutes long. So the the first race is a little bit shorter, only by 5 minutes, but the race 2, that's extended by another 10 minutes now. GT2, I'll be driving in that championship on Thursday, and I haven't done any practice. I will be driving the Corvette, and I will put it out there that yes, Pagani was part of an influence of why I chose that car, so if this season goes bad, it's solely Pagani's fault. I can't take any blame in that. So race 1 will be 20 minutes around Dragon Trail Gardens, and race 2 will be 50 minutes around Dragon Trail Seaside with the chicane of death. Yes, that chicane. So it's going to be a difficult race for the lads for the start of the season for GT2. Nice and easy for GT1 lads this week, so we'll see. I think it'll be a bit difficult, but we'll see how it goes. And Peteman popped in the chat. How you doing, Pete? You're usually in here quite a lot. And yes, Pete, we do love a chicane of death. And we love it even more when it's killing people. So the lads revving the engines, getting ready for the lights to go out. Pagani leads the way off the start, gets a good start. Mighty Iggy, it's a fairly similar start. He's behind Pagani running into turn 1, switch back, gets past Rom. SBY is off circuit, so switch back, that's allowed From to get up a few positions. So is Donkey Sport, he started 10th, he's now 5th. Pagani's pretty much running away with Iggy. Iggy's going to try down inside for turn 2. Iggy on the left, Pagani on the right. Pagani holds around the outside, not much he can do. That's Iggy up into turn 1. Up into P1 at turn 2. So everyone's trying to navigate the first lap around the mountains of Panorama. So Pagani right on the tail of Iggy as they're going through the middle sector. There's not much Pagani can do down a hill. He'll have to wait, bide his time, and then try and make his attack on the straights. Now everyone's got an overtake option to use. They'll be using that on acceleration. Pagani's tucked in right on that slipstream if Iggy decided not to use his overtake. It's too early in the race. So once you use your energy, you can't get it back, so it's a one and gone type of situation. So you really need to be wise about how and when you deploy it, as it can be critical to the race position that you're in. So Rom Elson rearing up the back of Pagani. Just a few tenths separating them apart. So it's a good battle for P3 so far. Iggy up into P1, Pagani down into P2, Rom Elson in P3. He's looking to try and make that a P2 or possibly even a P1. He did win around here last Friday night, so he'll be trying to replicate that race result, minus the spin. Got Zonwa in the chat saying ooh, racing and stuff. So we've got a very observant Zom in the chat. How you doing, mate? So it's all getting close between the top 3 right now. There'll be no overtakes made up down the hill. I think it'd be a bit silly to try and go for one there. But Gary's kicking up a bit of dust in the face of Rom. I think I made a merge of Rom and Rom there. Don't know where that come from. Have a quick little look further down the grid, see what's going on. Junkie Sports having a little clatter against the walls. This will allow blue flank to get through. Let's go back with the top 3. Iggy now leading about 4 tenths. That's been dropped by Pagani, who's in the slipstream. Rom Elson's about 6 tenths behind, so he's lost a little bit since the start of this lap. He was right up the exhaust of Pagani going through turn 1. So Pagani picking up the pace a little bit. So currently on lap 2 of 27, Iggy will be round in the corner to make that lap 3. Now we've got Iggy on the super soft, Pagani both on the super soft as well with Rom. We've got From on the supers, Aaron is, City Posh is on the supers, Blue Flags on the supers, Junkie Sports on the supers, Unsafe Release is on the supers. I think pretty much everyone is on the super soft tyre. So they're all on fairly the same strategy. Now I'm not entirely sure if there's mandatory tyres I have to use. So they're all looking to be on a fairly similar strategy. Now the tyre wear isn't all too bad in these Super Formula cars, so you can run a fair few laps. On the super soft tyres, Pagani gets the power down that too early, and now he's just into the barrier. That's dropped him down a position to Rom. He's going to be trying it around the outside of turn 6. A daring move from Pagani. Banging the wall again, but he's still alongside Rom. He's tucked in behind Rom as they both head downhill. Now this has allowed Iggy to pull out 2 seconds. He's 2 seconds ahead, and that's now 1.9, it's 1.8. Lads are really starting to drop that gap to Iggy. So Rom currently your P2 driver. Not a good start from Pagani, he's dropped from 1st to 3rd in a matter of 3 laps. Now the nation for Iggy, I'm not entirely sure. I think that's something we'll have to figure out, because his livery doesn't seem to represent a nation. So that's an interesting one. If anyone in the chat does know, please feel free to let me know. Actually, I will be a legend and I'll get it up from last week's stream because you were running the GT3 cars. So we're going to be looking to try and get back past Rom to get P2 back. We've got Flying From in 4th, Aaron in 5th, a good start from Aaron. He's gained a few positions. City Posh Blue in 6th with Blue Flag in 7th. Junkie Sports dropped a few positions, he's now down in P8. But for some strange reason, everything seems to have crashed. So unfortunately I don't really know what's happened. We have had a bit of a crash. So the situation's a bit up in the air right now. I don't exactly know what's happened. So to the lads watching who are just looking at a normal screen for turn 1, I think we'll have to restart the whole stream. Unfortunately, I don't quite know what's happened. We have suffered a crash for some very, very strange reason, but we'll be back in just a few minutes.